Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode on the Hermitcraft server. Today is the day that we build the Wither farm. However, I'm actually going to be building this over a certain period of time. I realised that coming over here to the nether is quite time consuming, so I'm just going to do this in little bits wherever I can and just put it all together in one episode for you guys. So we will get it all done in this episode, but check it out. I've removed all of the, I was about to say bedrock, that's not what it's called, nether brick that was underneath here, so from inside this area you can see all of the sides, it looks glorious. And up here we have a quick look, there might be something in here. There's a pigman and that's it. So what I did was I marked the top of them like this, and all I need to do now is just to replace that with cobblestone. But building this is going to be quite time consuming, as you can imagine. And I think that's all of them. Nope, we've got a hole over there, let's fill that in as well. And what I'm going to be doing to build this is the same thing that I did when I needed to figure out where the cage was going to go. Is I use MCEdit and the creative world farm that I have to kind of just measure out how far things need to be away from each other. And I tell you what, that makes a huge difference, because I can open up MCEdit, I can grab the bottom of the bounding box, which is where that cobblestone is right there, and then I can measure it down to the bottom and realise whereabouts it is that I need to start placing these blocks. So I think it's going to be fairly easy to build, and my plan is to build it from the ground up. So we're going to start with the crushers that will be at the bottom, then we'll build the glass for the mobs to drop down into, and then above that we can start building the sections that go inside the bounding box. So when I do that and I come down here, there's a possibility they can start spawning inside there already. So by having the crushers in place from the beginning, it means we can collect, all of those drops and kill those withers while the farm is running. Anyway, let's just stand back and have a look at the cage. It kind of looked better from up above, because when you looked through the iron bars you could see lava, which kind of brightened it up a little bit. From down here it does look a little bit boring. But anyway, we know exactly what we're doing. I'm going to get to work and start building this. Well, I have got to say, building this has been much fun, and the whole time I'm down here I can hear this bubbling sound from the lava. I actually quite like it. It's not as annoying as you think it would be. But yeah, this is the first bit that we've done right here. This is the crusher at the bottom. Now, I haven't built the redstone circuit for the crusher, that's what I want to do next. And also I will be building the glass and the stone bricks going all the way up to where it meets the trap at the top. And then that's probably the easiest part of this done. Now, I did make a mistake. I put the blocks here in the wrong position, and the hoppers and the half slabs, so it kind of took me twice as long as it should have done, because I had to rip everything out and then move it over by one block. And then at the end I had a little bit of a panic that these two would have been out of position, but I double checked it, everything is in the correct position, which is pretty cool. So there isn't too much to show you here. You'll notice there's some glowstone over there. That is a platform for walking along. Now at first I was thinking, let's put down some half slabs, and if I put them at this height here then I don't have enough space to stand, so I'd have to put them at that height and then I'd be slightly lower looking up. So I thought, well, the reason we're using half slabs is so mobs don't spawn on them, and mobs can't spawn on glowstone. We could also use glass as well, but then you can walk across like this and just hit them through the gap, which I think is going to be pretty cool. Now, I don't know if I want to close it up on one side. I think that's probably a good idea, because when you hit them the items are going to go in all sorts of directions, and you want the hoppers to pick up the ones that you don't. So if they're coming out the other side, it's probably a good idea just to have a few like that. Although I haven't made up my mind how I'm going to do that yet, so I'm just going to take those back. Well, the next part of this is done. Take a look at that. This is actually the first time I'm kind of looking at it from down here, because I've been up there placing all of the blocks. I've just finished doing that. From this side though, kind of looks a bit much with the glass texture, and that would probably be even worse if you had it on vanilla. But there you go, we put all of the glass in place. Now I think this might go a little bit higher, because in the test build that I did, and we've got a pigman walking around up there, I can just about see. In the test build there's a whole bunch of blocks above the glass that I think could actually be replaced with glass, because we kind of want the glass to go through all of the bit where they fall down. So there might be some more to place, but I've actually run out of glass. This is all I have left, 65 blocks. And what's funny is I went and made a trip back to get another 25 stacks of sand. And I'll tell you what, that smelter with the lava is brilliant. I come down here, I make a little trip, I fill up my inventory with lava buckets, I go up the top and fill up the hoppers, and then that's it, I leave it, and it smelts tons and tons of this stuff. But yeah, run out of glass again. I don't know how I miscalculated how much I needed, because I did bring a lot over with me, but somehow I managed to do that and had to get more. But anyway, I've also put in the timer over here, and I was going to give an explanation of how this works Let's wait for that block to shift back across so I can place this redstone. Is it even going to? Actually, I think I turned it off. Yeah, I did. I put an off switch on all of these, so if we hit that and then we put the redstone like that. Now what I did was I placed it on the upside of that block, or the underside of it, so it placed it on the one below, which is on top of this glowstone. But basically what you have is an EFO hopper clock, and here the signal gets carried through some repeaters, and on top of these glowstone blocks are redstone dust. So they get powered and they send the signal back here, which means it takes longer to unpower all of this. I think that's how it works. And I am still looking for an alternative to this design because it's quite big and bulky. But what it does is it crushes for longer than it has the pistons retracted. So you'll see they retract for a short time and then they crush for a lot longer. And that's so the mobs just fall down and they can continue getting crushed, which is pretty cool. And I've had all three running at once as well, and it's not that bad, I've got to say. They're all turned off at the moment, but lots of pistons are firing at the same time. And my concern is that when we've got this down the bottom here and loads of pistons up the top firing, that it could get pretty laggy around here. But hopefully not. We'll have to wait and see. Well, building this has been well and truly difficult. I have done the bits on the side with the clocks that control the pistons, and now what we need to do is put in the pistons, the spawning pads, the string, the tripwire hooks, the redstone, the blocks, loads of stuff. But that's basically most of the trap here done. We've got the bit here that pushes them from a 2 wide gap into a 1 wide bit, and like I said, we've got the clocks on the outside. So the next bit is going to be very repetitive building. Now the whole time that I've been building this, I've been thinking what I'm going to do is finish doing this bit right here, and then the next time that I record I'll walk you through the building process bit by bit, because this has been taking me so long. But I just wanted to do an update just because this bit has been really crazy, and it can be quite difficult sometimes to sort of copy something that's in a test world and you're trying to look at, where are all these blocks positioned, am I putting them in the right place? And so it's taken a really long time just double checking everything that I'm doing. But I just finished removing some of this cobblestone box as well, and that was quite tedious, having that in the way. But it's out of the way now, so I can build this bit with ease, I think. And then when I'm done with that bit, I'll show you it. We'll probably have a little bit of a test, because then part of the trap will be functional, and then after that I'll try and walk you through the building process. Well, I can now tell you that this is 1/3 complete. Actually, it's more than 1/3 complete, but 1/3 of it is now working. I've had the crusher on down the bottom here. Haven't had too many spawns, but I have seen a couple of blazes fall down and get crushed, so it's kind of a good indicator that this thing does actually work. And there's also a couple of problems that I realised have sort of been added with 1.7. Now, I haven't really talked too much about the design of this because I don't think I actually showed this design in a video yet. But one thing I mentioned earlier, I think I mentioned it, but I had a little bit of a problem with finding the world that this was in. I think I accidentally deleted it, and I made a backup of it being deleted, if that makes any sense. And so I had to find an old backup of a backup, and this is why you keep backups. And I did manage to find the world. So when I started to build this, I had a bit of a panic there, and this whole thing has just been a bit of a panic in general. And now that we've built one segment of it and I know it works, it means building the other two bits is going to be a lot less stressful. But when I found that backup, after a while I thought that perhaps it was broken, because there were a few different maps that I had worked on before I got the one that worked, and I had to change a lot of things. And for some reason these blocks here have the tripwire hooks above them. I had glass blocks there before and it works fine, and now I had to replace them with solid blocks. I don't know what's going on there, because it worked fine with glass. And so I was building this and I was placing the glass down and the tripwires weren't activating, and then I was wondering, oh, what if I can't have the tripwire on the slabs, or something's changed, and have I built the wrong design? Have I built the one that I deleted because it didn't work? So just imagine you're building something like this and then you're second guessing yourself if you're even building the right farm. It was pretty stressful. But it is finished now, and I think I'll go over the design at the end of this video, because as I said, I haven't gone over it yet, and that is a problem. When I break blocks nearby, they might land on top of the half slabs and go into the hoppers. That is something I have to check. No, I don't think it did then, but there's one down the bottom there, so I'll have to check that, because that could break it. If we have extra items in the hoppers, then it's not going to work. But yeah, that's one segment done. So when I start building this next one, I'm going to go through it step by step and show you all the stages. And also, as you can see, I've removed the cobblestone around the bounding box. We no longer need that. And we actually need the cobblestone so we can smelt it into smooth stone, because again, I am running out of materials. So the first of many steps has been taken towards building this. I have placed down a bunch of half slabs. This is the first thing that I've done. So it looked like that over there a moment ago, and all I've done here is I placed 3.5 blocks worth of half slabs on this side and then 8 on this side over here. So lots of repetitive building and placing. And now the next thing to do is to place down some buttons and vines. So down at the very bottom of these blocks we place a button there. So what I'm going to do is place one and then hold down right click, moving across to the left like this. And then above that by 2 blocks I need to place the vines, so they will just grow down into that space down below, and then put buttons above the vines because vines can actually spread upwards. And then we have a gap and then a button here. Yep, that's right, just double checking that. And then we have vines at the top here. So the same thing again, there's not going to be any blocks above that, so the vines aren't going to grow upwards, but we have the button here to stop them growing down as well. So for this step all I need to do is just do that going all the way across. Now all of that is in place, you can see some of the vines are growing. This next bit that I do, it might seem a little bit strange, but basically I've made one slice in front of this bit here, and that's because all of the building behind that is going to be repetitive going across. We're going to be placing lots of rows of pistons and string and things like that. So these ends I want to build first, and what I do is I build the first slice, which is this one here, and some of those blocks have redstone on, and then I'll build the hoppers and the extra blocks in front of them after. So that's pretty much it right there. I'm going to go down and build it at the other end first, just so I have this to look at. It makes it nice and easy. In fact, I think I'm going to take a screenshot for reference when I build the next one as well. So the next bit has been built in front of this. Again, we're just doing things at the end here, sort of layer by layer. So the next thing to do is to place the hoppers facing into each other on top of the torches, and they're going to have spades inside them. I'll explain why that's important later on. And they got half slabs on top of them as well. I also forgot to place something down when I was building this, I just remembered it right now. Each one of these slabs that comes out the side needs a comparator on top of it, so I've got to do that again. And I've also built the other thing down the other side, as you can see there. What I realised when I was building that is that's exactly how we need to do it. We need to do this side, then that side over there, and when both sides are ready it makes building the rest of this a lot easier. So our hoppers are now in place. All we have to do is place them facing into each other above those torches and then put some half slabs on the top. So that's been done at either end. That now means all we have to do is the bits in the middle, which I think are all the same with the exception of the one at the bottom here. Now this is where there's a 2 wide gap, so if they land on this side then they're going to get pushed down to the middle, so it's slightly different. And we have a wither skeleton. Did it just despawn? Okay, it just despawned. I was going to say I have killed a few more. Still no wither skull. I don't have a looting sword, but I kind of feel like by the time I finish building all of this, I really should have got a wither skull, because that would have been quite a few kills. But that's just how it goes sometimes. Yeah, so building this, what do we have to do? Well, we have to place a piston here, 2 blocks above it, and then some string in front of it. So that didn't take too long to do, and the next thing to do is to put in a tripwire hook. So we want to put these in at either end, and then that string will be active. Now on the other side of that block is the redstone torch here that controls these hoppers. Now earlier I said you put in a wooden shovel into each of these, and when this is unpowered then that wooden shovel is going to go back and forth, so the comparator on the other side is going to get activated. And the next thing that we do is put down all of the redstone. Now we put the wooden shovels in last because we don't want to stand on the string when we're building this and accidentally get pushed off. So the very last thing we do is put in these wooden shovels. But the reason that we use wooden shovels is because the comparator gets a longer signal strength, and because of this it means that we can extend the length of this the whole way across the bounding box area. So in this case it's different just on this one, but in the rest of them the signal strength that a wooden shovel gives is free, so it'd go out that far. Now in this case we have a block here, so it doesn't matter. So we have 2 of those, and actually the way I'm going to do this, is it different to the other side? I'll have to check, I'll show you right now. So we put a repeater here and then we go 15. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I have to double check that, I think it's in the right place. If we look up here we should see, there you go, these blocks right here. So it is the right place. So then we can place those 2 there, and this block will get powered, which will bud power the piston down there, and because the one next to it gets activated, that will get powered as well. And because there's a block there instead of a redstone wire, it means that actually we can move the repeater one forward, and then have the wire going all the way to this block right here. So depending on what it is on the other side, I'll have to check that in a moment, we might change this, but then once we've got those in place, all we have to do is put half slabs going across them like this. So now that all of those blocks have been placed above the redstone, you can see there's a little bit of a gap. In fact, if I just take a step back, you'll be able to see it all there. And I got rid of those blocks, by the way. That's the way it's done on the other side. So if you notice that this is now at the level that this side is on, these are the 8 stacks of half slab blocks that we placed at the very beginning. Now we can start building the spawning pads, and what we have to do is place string on top of these blocks going all the way down the end, and it's the same on either side. We're going to put the tripwire hooks in at these ends, so the other side of that is your redstone torch and your hoppers, and then we need some pistons as well. So then we're going to put pistons like this going all the way across. So that didn't take very long. We're getting to the repetitive building bits now. The slowest bit I think is building this bit here on the side, and this bit here can be quite tedious because of all the half slabs, but let's hop up on top of these pistons. Now notice this redstone here, what I was talking about earlier with the comparator. So that's one signal strength right there, then we've got another one here, and if I place some more blocks, the other one goes here, and then you have your repeater there. And I need to find the repeaters, there we go, like that. So then you can see the repeater is one block back from where it was below, and so we're going to need those extra blocks over there, which I'm going to place in a minute. It's going to be the same thing on either side, and then what we want to do is also place just half slabs here like that, and then this is going to be the spawning platform on the next level. So I think now I've shown you pretty much everything that goes into building this. This is the spawning platform, like I said. So I put in the tripwire hooks, we're going to put string down on top of these, and this is a little bit quicker to place the pistons because you can put them directly on top of the redstone. So I have to hold down shift when I hit the repeater, but then I can just tap right click like that, and if I press it more than once because I'm standing in the way, it won't get placed. So it gets really nice and easy to build the rest of this. So this is almost finished. I'm at the top here. I'm about to place the last block, but I thought I'd show you what it looks like now. And the top is slightly different because of course there isn't another layer above it, so we just have the redstone going across the top. Anyway, let's drop down and place that block. There was something that I missed earlier that I need to go back and fix, and so this is a really good reason to put the wooden shovels in last of all. If we drop down here, and where is it I need to go? I think it's onto this bit here. Yeah, that's right. So one thing that I've missed here is some vines. They need to go on the blocks up here. It's going to be a bit of a pain to place now because the string is in the way, but I need to go across. I need to jump up and place a vine like that on each one, and then that's going to fall down one block, so it's enough to stop fall damage, and the string here also stops it from growing down any further, which is quite useful. So that is how you build a segment of this farm. I've now gone round and put wooden shovels in each of the hoppers and then cleared up all of that netherrack that was around here, so this thing should be fully functional. At the moment there's nothing spawning inside of it, which is a little bit annoying. Be nice to show you it in action. In fact, I haven't even seen it myself in action yet, so it's quite likely that I've probably made a mistake here or there that needs correcting, but that should be it built properly. And yeah, it's just a waiting game now, I guess. I'm going to wait around to see if I can see it in action. But the next thing that I have to do, of course, is build another one over here, and you've seen how it's done now, so I'm just going to get that built and we'll take a look at it when it's done. I just realised that it is now finished. That is it. That is the last thing that I needed to do. Just put the shovels in the hoppers like we do at the end of this, and it's finished. Now here's an interesting thing. I got all the way to the end and I needed 2 more pistons, and then I looked at the amount of redstone that I had left and I thought I'd miscalculated how much I had and how much I needed to build this. So I had those 2 pistons there, and when I finished placing the rest of the redstone, which I'd done after debating going back and getting more redstone, I had exactly 2 pieces of redstone left over, and then 2 pieces that needed to be placed above them, so I could actually craft the pistons and then place the redstone on top of it. So it just happened to work out exact, and that is my 2 stacks of redstone blocks completely gone. And I think I even crafted some redstone torches, so I should have had some left over, but I've actually used up exactly all of that redstone, which is convenient, I guess, because I could have easily crafted more of these by mistake, but I managed to find some of them in a chest. Anyway, enough about that. It has been a really long time building this, and it's driven me slightly mad, I will admit it. But there are well, there's quite a lot of things left to do really, because the rates on this thing even aren't too great, and there's also some sort of design flaws that I've realised since building this with the bottom area. So as you can see, I put down the sand and put down some of the cactus so that can start to grow, and we'll build this perimeter around the edge. Now the flaw with this is that the magma cubes, they hop up and down and in a random direction unless they track the player. And if they track the player, then they're going to hop up and down towards the player, and I'm most likely going to stand in the center somewhere over there. So what I think we need to do is create like a pit around the middle here that goes down by a couple of blocks. So if they come down and they don't track the player, which is most likely going to happen over in these corners, then they're going to jump into the cactus and die. That's fine. But then if I'm AFKing here, they're going to go towards me. So we need to build some sort of area at the bottom here which they will go towards, and then they will go into the cactus. And I think that's not actually as hard as I thought it would be. It's really just a case of lowering the floor. So I just feel a bit worn out, as you can probably tell. This has taken me a lot of effort to do, and I think we're pretty much done here. I'm going to take a break from doing this. So before I leave, I just need to double check everything. So after recording that last clip, I decided that everything was okay with the farm and it was time to do our first test. So I left myself logged in overnight, and then when I woke up I was disconnected from the server, which isn't surprising after being logged in for such a long time. But I don't know how long I was actually logged in for, but look, proof of concept, we have a bunch of wither skeletons to kill. So we've got these ones on this row, we got a few on this one here, and this one I forgot to turn on the crusher. I literally just turned it on before I started recording. So you can see we had two, but we also had a bunch of blazes and magma creams in here as well. And this is where I stood when I AFK'd, right in the very centre of things. And what we need to do is kill those wither skeletons and also check the contents of these chests, because there might be magma creams and other things in them as well from where the crushers have been running. So I probably should have counted how many wither skeletons I just killed, but I think it was about 20. But to be honest, I'm pretty exhausted with this project. There's a lot more that's going to go into this. This isn't finished just yet. We've seen the proof of concept, we have the farm working, and now the project really just begins, because the more we work on this, the more we work on the environment around it, the better we can make this farm. So there's still a long way to go really, but hopefully we'll be able to get some wither skulls. Unfortunately I didn't get any. I need to get myself a looting sword, and right now you can probably tell I am somewhat exhausted with this project, and so I think I'm going to wrap things up right here. I could talk about this for a fair bit longer, but I think you've seen everything to do with the construction of this farm, and we'll save it for another time. So guys, if you have enjoyed this video, please do give it a like. It is always appreciated, and just look at the amount of work that went into this. It was pretty crazy, and I can't wait to see what you guys think of this, because like I touched on in the last episode, you know, the motivation from these projects really does come from reading the comments and things like that. So yeah, let's just have one last look at it. I think I'm going to wrap things up now. So as always, thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you next time.